and welcome to Dean Park Station and the December 2017 update. In this update I'll be covering some work I've been doing on the S&T training facility and also some work on retaining walls as well. Any questions, please do get in touch. What I've done here is I've put down the paving sections where they're going to sit in relation to the S&T facility. They're not fixed to the baseboard yet. They're made up of 2mm and a 0.5mm grey board, the same stuff I use for my scale scenes buildings. And there's a slight protrusion round here in the 0.5 card, and that's to accommodate this 2.5 by 2.5mm styrene strip from Evergreen as the curbstone, which will obviously be engraved with the individual curbstones. That then sits a little bit proud from the surface, but it won't be proud for long because I'll be fitting the paving sheet on, and that'll make it all smooth. So the paving and the curb will be flat. The main reason I put this 0.5 strip round here, and it's under all the rest of the 2mm card to make it all level, is when I use the Woodland Scenics Road Smooth It compound, it's about 0.5 to 0.75 of a millimetre thick time you laid it on and maybe sanded it. And if I hadn't raised the curb up a little bit more than just the 2mm, it would have left a very shallow curb. So by adding this 0.5 in, I've kind of negated the depth of the road surface which I'll put down. So the curb's still going to be 2mm from the top of the road surface, if that makes sense. So I've had to do a wee bit of thought there and engineering to make sure that the road will not be just about flush with the top of the pavement. Okay, if I move it out a little bit, you'll see the entrance here. These are Will's security gates and fencing pack. I've used that all the way around. The pavement obviously runs out, and this will continue. I'll get another bit of paving there to just go off the scene, and that'll be the entrance road, needing a bit of a hole filled there. And there'll be a gate here to let the workers in who are coming by foot, and possibly one at the other side as well, I don't know. The fence will then run along here to allow the space for the track mock-up section there. So it's all been designed to fit round the buildings, so there's paving round the back to allow access to the back doors, if you like, of the training centre. And this little kind of storeroom area here, it's got partial pavement. It obviously stops there because there's no need for it there. It's going to be gravelled. And what I've done here is I've cut myself a little set of slabs to allow access to the storage area. I don't know, wheelbarrows, whatever, doesn't matter, but it'll be surrounded by gravel, and it just saves the gravel going straight up to the door, and it gives that little bit of a step. So that's just, I think that's 25mm long by 10mm wide, size of a slab, just to give it that effect. It looks like a doormat just now, but obviously it'll be painted up to like concrete. So if I take a wee zoom out there just now, progress on this area is slow because I've got a lot of things to plan, a lot of different elements to come together, and I've been unable to make as much progress as I'd wanted because of the cold weather. I can't get into my shed to do the painting. As you can see now then, that's the pavement being put on top of the card. It's not been glued down, it's just been taped in place to test fit it. And as you can also see, the 2.5mm lip there has been left. And if I put the strip on there, it's now flush with the surface of the pavement. So that'll be fitted before painting. If I come out a little bit further, you notice there's no curbs around this area. There will be. I've just used the 2.5mm square styrene with a 0.5 base on it to lift it up as well. The reason I didn't do that to start with is it was just getting too complicated, and also I needed a clean edge to cut the paving without worrying too much about, you know, getting it perfect round the lip. This was quite a challenge to get it perfect, so I thought I'll give myself extra work, so I'll just add the curbs onto that later, and the same at the back section there and along there. This, I'm not sure, will be a waste ground or a little service hut or a outbuilding, I'm not sure. Here we've got the tarmac section for the S&T training facility, car park area for the staff, etc. For this I used the Woodland Scenics Smooth It road compound, and the link of how I did that is in one of my previous videos at the top of the screen now. After it was dried, I gave it a very light rub to get some of the imperfections out, but I didn't want to take all the imperfections out because tarmac is never perfect, and there is kind of maybe more broken up areas here, I don't know if you can see it, and there, and especially at the entrance as well. So I then went to work on giving it a bit of detail, and I used a screwdriver to kind of gouge out small potholes. I then also used a screwdriver here and there to give a little recess in the tarmac surface for the drain covers to go in, so the drains sit just below the surface of the tarmac, as would be the case in real life. So they've been prepared for the drainage. I then took a Woodland Scenics tarmac paint and their concrete mix paint, and I mixed it together in varying shades of grey, as you probably see from the dabbing round about here, trying to get the colour right. And I used a sponge. Again, this is all covered in my previous video where I showed you how to do this. I dabbed it on in various areas, changing the tone slightly, changing the intensity of the sponging to give varying weathering effects. What I did here was I masked them off. I just got a piece of paper and cut a rectangle out of them and placed it on top of the tarmac, and then got a darker, almost just neat tarmac paint, which is quite dark, and dabbed it on with a sponge to give the impression of patches of the concrete that have been, you know, dug up, and I don't know, maybe for a pothole getting fixed or a drainage issue or whatever, and then obviously been replaced. I'm just going to go around the edge very finely in a black fine liner to give it that impression of the tar that they used to seal between the new concrete and the new tarmac and the old. So that's just to be finished off there. As you can see, it sits proud of the surface. Obviously it's plaster on top of a piece of ply, and that sits about 0.5 to 0.75 of a millimetre. And if you look at my previous clip, I talked about that edge round my paving. That just allows it to come up to the top of that ledge, so I've still got a good curb width and depth as well. So that is the tarmac section. I've got to now do the road markings for the car parking bays, and you know, I've got the scale model scenery templates for doing that, which I'll show in a future video. Okay, my tunnel mouths for the little recessed area that I'm going to cover in the next clip. I had to make quite a rigid structure for these. I had started off by just using a piece of MDF with the brick paper glued to it, but as you can see, without support it doesn't stay particularly flat. It's kind of bowed a wee bit in both directions, so that was pretty useless. MDF and plasticard will vary with, you know, variations in temperature if they're not rigidly held in place. So what I came up with here, a bit of a belt and braces, to be honest with you. This is the single track tunnel entrance which goes underneath where the HST is, sitting just now, and I did the structure with MDF and the southeastern fine cast brick texture there, and on the back you can see these bits here. They are layered versions, shortened versions of the same archway. This has been laser cut, so I designed it on CAD. Then what I've done is I've stuck that to the back of the section here to keep it nice and rigid and straight, and I've even strengthened it with a strip of aluminium stuck on with some araldite or epoxy resin, and you can see there that's quite a thin piece of MDF, so I've strengthened that both ways, keeping it rigid that way and obviously stopping it snapping. I had to do that because that's the clearance for the raised section. I couldn't have this any higher or it wouldn't slide under, which I'll show you in the next clip. I then used bits of ply. There's 18mm bits of ply I had lying around, and again the brick against the 2mm MDF has been glued to that using PVA and weighted down, and I stuck the front to the sides, and as you can see I kind of gave an overlap for so the brick met at the corner. There's a slight gap there, but I've still got to obviously finish that bit off. And at the back, again, as you can get a better idea of the laser cut ones, they're sandwiched, just 4 layers of MDF sandwiched together, and they've been stuck on there to give strength, and also I'll get a piece of plastic card with the brick texture on it, and I'll just cut it to curve in here, and that and this curve will help it sit in place, and I'll just run a beaded glue at each side, so the tunnel has actually got a roof on it. You're not going to see the roof, but you know, I like the little details that might not be instantly seen by at normal angles. You know, in case you run a cam truck through the tunnel, I want some of it to have a roof on it. I did the very same, take that one out of the way just now, did the very same with the tunnel mouth that's going to run underneath the TMD. This was again designed by me on CAD. This is a, I think it's a 60mm radius curve. I designed it on my computer, and it's all been cut. It's the same construction principle. I've got brick surrounds or stone surrounds I'm getting put onto there, and I've also got the buttresses and the capping stones and all that stuff, and I've based it really on a scale scenes designed tunnel entrance, so it will follow, and it really follows the sizes of that as well, to be honest. And obviously the height there matches the height of the rest of the retaining walls and tunnels around about that area. Again, with the interior, I will be having a curved plastic card brick, and these two curves will just support it, and it will get curved round and glued to the edges of the MDF, but obviously it's going to have to be painted and weathered before I do that. And again, the aluminium strip there, still got its protective film on it, and an aluminium strip there, just to keep it as straight as a bullet in fluctuating temperatures, etc, etc, humidity and whatnot. And if you look down the length of it there, it's pretty straight. Okay, you're not getting 100%, we're dealing with flexible materials here, but I think it's strengthened enough. And these bits of wood here are just obviously to hold it all together, they'll not be seen. So I'll put them on the layout and I'll show you where they go in. Alright, putting the twin tunnel entrance here, the portal in place, the reason it's this height is so it can slide under. I had to take this little bit of wood off here, actually chisel a wee bit out of here, just so you can maybe see the wee lip there, just to give it a bit extra give, and it slides in position there perfectly like that, and that's it done. And if I want to take it out in the future, I can do that. Now the reason I do all these frames and at the back of my retaining walls and that, which I'll cover with my retaining wall in a clip in a minute, is to give it strength, but also that I can know not have it permanently fixed to the layout if I need to move it. And with having all my point motors and that underneath here, and not having an open frame baseboard design, I need to sometimes maybe access situations where a point motor, breaks or whatever, to open that part of the wall up to get in to replace, or at least look at the problem of the point motors and whatnot. So that's why I've kind of made all these frames to kind of be you can pull them out and put them back in. Single arched entrance here that will just slot in here. Again, it's been designed so that there's no pillars, if you like, hold up the top layer in the way. That'll go into here. That'll be eventually refitted onto there, which is the extension I talked about in one of my previous videos, and there it goes like so. I've designed it so that the keystone is in the middle of the track, so it's kind of had to do a wee bit of design there because it's very tight space, and the retaining wall will come along and meet that, and the retaining wall, which you'll see shortly, will go out there. Okay, and my retaining walls. This is a section from the cutout that I just showed you where the tunnels are, and it's the plastic card brickwork. This is a Flemish bond from Southeastern Finecast. It is glued with rocket medium viscosity super glue. I'm talking a good covering of it on top of the 2mm MDF. It's then left with weights on it for a good while. I then add this frame to the back of it. Now these obviously keep it straight lengthways, and these pillars will keep it vertical and straight without it having a chance to bow. There's less support at the top here, but remember I've got a 9mm bit of ply to come in here, so the top of the wall is only about 20mm showing from the top, and the chances of it moving in that small space are limited because of the support down here. As you can see that it's remained quite vertical and straight. This is just MDF. It's I think it's either 9 or 12mm stuff. I bought a sheet of it ages ago, and I just run it through a saw and get it cut, and then it all gets fixed on with PVA. Again, a lot of weight onto it. I weight it down like that so that it's really adhering to the MDF. This will be painted with a weather seal undercoat stroke primer, just to stop any moisture getting into the MDF, because water and MDF don't mix particularly well, and I've cut it at an angle there that you'll see when it fits on the layout. So that's how I make my retaining walls. I said they're designed to be removed. If I didn't have this support, I could just glue that to the base of the baseboard and the uprights, but it would bow and I wouldn't be able to get into the underneath the raised area for maintenance and whatnot. So it might be a long-winded way of doing it, and it certainly is not a quick construction method, but I'm building for not just the next 6 months but years ahead, so I don't want to have to replace these too often, to be honest with you. These obviously got to be detailed yet with buttresses, ledges, ridges, and all the usual paraphernalia that's on my retaining walls here. I've had some question as to where do I buy these retaining walls, which is a compliment in itself because I make them all from scratch. Obviously I designed it all from scratch myself. I think if you go back to one of my previous videos about a year ago, you'll see how I made them in the same construction method as I'm doing now. So these are all removable if I need to, for example, get under to change a sensor for a signal. It's not going to be easy to remove them because obviously I've got all the signals and the bushes and the masts, but they are not fixed to the base, and they don't have to be because they sit snugly under the raised section. So I hope that answers some questions on my retaining wall construction. I often get asked what kind of back scenes I use on the layout, and the answer, funnily enough, is the same every time. They're ID back scenes from art printers, and you can also get them on other websites where they distribute them too. I've gone for the polypropylene version, which is also self-adhesive. This is because it is waterproof and tear-proof, and I felt that this was best for me as opposed to the standard thick paper ones that you can apply, because I'm taking the backboards off and on as I work on a section, and I felt that the more durable polypropylene ones suited me best. The actual series, if you like, of back scenes are the Into the Town back scene, and if I wanted to use the full length of them, I could take it all the way around the layout, all 40 odd feet of it. Now the reason I've got 40 plus foot of it is my ones are slightly, shall we say, bespoke, in that I've got them altered to bring the horizon closer, if you like, to the actual layout, so the houses appear closer, and I've got less of a green kind of band running along the bottom. If you look at behind the houses, you get a kind of green band of grass, which gives the back scene depth. I just felt with the height my backboards and upper layer were sitting at, I wanted to bring the background more into the foreground, if you like. So they were kind of altered for me. I will be using an industrial scene on the TMD side of the layout, which has been blended into the other parts of the Into the Town series for me, and that'll be covered in a future video. Now, I use ply. If you look at the back of my backboards which hold the back scenes, I use a 6mm ply with bracing, wood, pine bracing, and it's nailed together and obviously fixed securely to the ply. This keeps it stable, straight and secure in loft conditions. The front of them have been painted with several coats of undercoat and then white gloss, because the back scenes adhere best to a sealed surface with a glossy finish. So you could use gloss varnish, white paint, whatever. I've gone for the white purely because that was a choice that I made. As you can see there, some of the white paint on the top edge there, that's maybe just a wee bit neater than any other colour. So these frames remove from the rail, if you like, here. You can see I've cut round these bits, and I can lift them up in sections when I need to work on a particular area, or I need to fit the back scene to this section, and they clip together using these clips here. And if I want to take it apart, I just open that up, lift that bit out, or lift this bit out depending on what I want, and they help align it as well and hold it together. It's very much my own design, and I've used that all the way along the layout, as you can probably see from that angle there. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Darren at Canning Parkway. I've watched his videos for years now, and his layout's really coming on. and there's lots of diesel traction on display, and it's really interesting to watch him develop his layout. So if you want to check out his progress, click on the link at the top of the screen. That's the retaining walls now placed in position. Obviously they're not detailed and they're nowhere near getting put onto the layout, but you can see what I've done with the actual angles and heights of the retaining walls. They do match the height of the tunnel portholes. You've got a section that runs along here, and then there's another section which I just showed you in the previous clip, the angled section, and a smaller section here with the main straight part of retaining wall there. I've worked it out in sizes so that the buttresses are equally spaced, and the same on the right hand side as you look at it here. There'll be buttresses there and there, obviously with the capping stones and all that kind of stuff. And if I swing the camera around to the single entrance, you'll notice this thing sticking up here. That's will be a buttress. There's a buttress downstairs, but this is the same, just to fill the gap. I kind of panicked myself and I thought, wait a minute, I've cut that short, but I designed it so the buttress goes onto the arched entrance and at the other side there. I had to do this to expose the side of the buttress in order to get the keystone in the middle of the track, because I said to you earlier that the space was quite tight, so I had to design it so that the buttresses will, you know, come to the edge here, and when it's all weathered up in obviously a brick card, sorry, all the way along there, and it will continue around, and there'll be an obvious buttress there. And I don't know if you'll see it, there's like kind of ridge tiles there, ridge bricks there, and that fits nicely where the buttress is, so it's been cut away for it. And the same happens at this end. Okay, so there's no gaps, and I got my measurements right. It took a bit of effort, I'll tell you, to get everything just fitted and correct. If I take a kind of plan view there, you can see a better idea what it looks like, and it gives that impression that it's a cutaway section in the town, if you like, an industrial area just cut into the landscape. Now some people ask, why don't you cover that over and not have an exposed section? You know, I said previously that would lead to about a 4 to 5 metre tunnel with no access, and that's just not going to happen. If there's a problem with the tunnel to the left, I can get in there, no problem. If there's a problem with a tunnel here, obviously it's nearly 3 metres in length, I can still get in, you know, a good way with my hand. And if there's a serious problem in the tunnel, which I don't anticipate because it's quite a low speed tunnel, and I can access it from underneath by, come the time, removing a piece of this retaining wall that will run all the way along here. And that'll be a fair bit of designing, I can tell you. I intend to have the retaining wall running along here, a different design completely from the retaining walls I've used on the curved section and the section at the back of the screen. I've not even chosen the material, you know, the brick or the stone for it yet. Quite like the idea of engineer's blue brick, but I've also thought about stone as well, and I've also thought about archways, you know, bricked in, infilled archways. That is not this winter's job. I upload updates maybe once or twice a month on my YouTube channel. However, if you want to see snippets and sneaky peeks of what I'm doing, you can follow me on my Dean Park Station Facebook group, or you could follow me on my Dean Park Station Instagram. I'm new to Instagram, and it's thanks to one of my friends, Ian Houston, who kind of steered me in this direction and gave me assistance on setting that up. So thanks to you for that, Ian. I've got quite a few followers now, and it's always good to post a little clip and some photos of the layout on there in between my video updates. Well, that really is it for the December update, and indeed for 2017 at Dean Park Station. Hope you enjoyed this video and the previous videos that I've uploaded for you, and I hope you've managed to get ideas and whatnot for your own layouts. I really value your comments and suggestions and your support, and the suggestions are, read with interest and taken on board where I can. For example, one of the suggestions was, why don't you have an S&T facility on your layout? Well, in front of you, there's an S&T facility in the making, so I do pick up the good ideas and try and use them where I can. The next part of the layout next year anyway, we'll continue making this section and working our way around towards the TMD, and we'll just take my time with that and make sure things are planned as I'd like them, so they all kind of come to fruition. I'd like to thank you again for your support, and everyone who actually watches my videos. It's humbling to know that there are so many people out there that are interested in model railways. If you wish to see one of my previous videos, you can click on the link that's going to come on the screen shortly, and if you wish to see another update from Richard at Everard Junction with his new layout, which is looking like a fantastic prospect, click on the link at the right hand side. I'd like to wish you all a happy new year and all the best for 2018. Cheers!